move in and neutralize the threat. But when you look at a large campus like UCLA, that takes time, and you know they want to get this done quickly. They want to get this person in custody if he is still on campus.
And you can see the multi-agency aspect of this. You can see fire, local police, federal agents, all working together to make sure they coordinate their efforts. And of course, time is of the essence. If there is an active shooter who's still moving through that building, while people are sheltering in place, they've got their doors locked, they want to get to this person who has a gun and neutralize that person as quickly as possible, meaning either to stop them from using their weapon, dropping their weapon, being arrested, or using force against that person if they have to. Sadly, we've had to go through this time and time again, and these officers are specially trained in all of it. We see a massive response, and the city of Los Angeles is on a citywide tactical alert. I'm being told Lynette Romero has something for us right now. Go.
Incident that occurred around 10 o'clock this morning involving a shooting. There have been reports of victims. We don't have that confirmed yet. As soon as I have that confirmed, we will provide more. So we know very little at this point. We are taking all the information in. We are sending our tactical teams, which consists of both UCLA, LAPD. The FBI is also here because they're in such close proximity that they responded to support. This is not an FBI investigation at this point. What we do know is that a shooting happened. If you're on campus right now, the message to everybody on campus is to shelter in place. Lock yourself in a safe place until the authorities are able to get to you or provide you a message that it's safe to come out. All the other reports that you're hearing from other sources, please wait until you hear it from an official source, either from LAPD, UCLA, the fire department, who is also on scene to help support us. But as we say, we have responded in an abundance of caution. There are a lot of resources here. The city of Los Angeles has been placed on a tactical alert citywide, which merely means it's a method for LAPD to reallocate resources where we need them to make sure that we can still handle the calls for service in all of the divisions. Does not mean that there is something going on in all parts of the city. As soon as we know more about what's going on here at UCLA, we'll be more than happy to provide that to you. Again, if you're not at UCLA, we ask you to stay away from the area. If you're on the roadways and you hear sirens, please pull to the right so our resources can get here.
Dr. Nyman, there have been reports that there are 2 people who are dead. Can you confirm that or deny that? Yeah,
those reports have not been confirmed yet. As soon as I'm able to confirm any kinds of injuries or number of victims, I'll be happy to do that. But at this point, that information is not available.
What about the description of the suspect being, in black pants, a black hood?
Yeah, I have not heard that either. So obviously, we want to make sure that the public is safe. As soon as I have information that is valid that we can provide to you in terms of the description of the person involved or persons involved, we'd be more than happy to do that. But at this point, we're still gathering all that information. Yeah. Our tactical teams are going in with SWAT, and we are going to do this very, very methodically to make sure that everybody is safe and nobody else is injured.
What building LAPD is confirming 2 people are dead.
The initial report was that this occurred somewhere near the engineering building. So I'm not familiar with the campus. I'll try to get a better location, but that was the initial report. And again, as this information comes in, a lot of times it is fast and furious and not always accurate. So I'm very cautious in providing specific details until I know those details are accurate. So bomb squad is here, and that is a common response with our SWAT team. In the event that we need to do any breaching of any doors, bomb squad is here to facilitate that in terms of any type of ordnance or explosive that we might have to use to breach doors, or if there's any ordnance. There has not been any reports of any bombs or devices at this point.
We heard multiple suspects. Are we focused on one suspect?
I don't have a description. Let me see if we can get one. I have not heard that reported yet, so as soon as I'm able to do that, I'll be more than happy to do that.
And again, you're not confirming the reports of 2 victims.
I have not had that confirmed to me yet, so I cannot confirm that.
Has there been anybody that has been transported from the scene? Any injuries?
Not to my knowledge, no.
What about the suspect or suspects? And you can say 1 or 2?
Yeah, I don't know that either yet. So until we know more information, again, when these events unfold, they happen very quickly, and information comes in from a lot of different resources. So a lot of that information is not accurate at this point.
Can you really start with what we do know in terms of what happened, when this happened?
So what we do know is around 10 o'clock this morning, a report of a shooting occurred UCLA campus. We have reports that there may be at least 1 or 2 victims. We don't have that confirmed. I don't know the status of the victims or how many actually we have. As soon as we have more information, I'll be glad to provide that.
Captain Nyman, but LAPD Media Relations is telling our assignment desk, I just got a text, that there are 2 confirmed fatalities.
Okay, well, I'm here, and I just talked to the command post, so I will have to talk to my office. That has not been confirmed to me. So as soon as I'm able to confirm that, I'll be more than happy to do that. Let me bring up... I'm sorry?
How was your report first received?
It came to us from UCLA. So UCLA has their own police department. It was a fine police department. They called us and asked for our resources to assist them, and that's why we're here. At this point, let me bring up the PIO for the fire department, who will talk a little bit about their resources.
It's Peter Sanders, SANDRS, Los Angeles City Fire Department.
Can you talk a little bit louder?
Sure. The LAFD responded approximately the same time, around 10 a.m. when LAPD received the call for a reported shooting. We immediately entered into unified command with UCLA PD, LAPD, and the FBI. We currently have 11 engine and truck companies on scene, as well as 17 rescue ambulances standing by. We also have other resources that are staged and prepared to respond if necessary. We do have our tactical EMS teams here. They're working in conjunction with LAPD and the FBI SWAT teams that are paramedics that are trained to enter closely with and work closely with the SWAT teams to render medical aid. They're on scene, and we have multiple command officers as well as other resources here on scene standing by to assist. Right now, we're standing by to assist with LAPD. We do, as Captain Nyman said, we do understand that there are victims shot. We don't have any other details at this point. Thank you.
And there you heard it. In the brief of the fire department.
And that wraps up that quick brief.
Here's the latest information that we have from Captain Andy Nyman from the LAPD and from the LA Fire Department. Mark Kono at Sky 5 HD with live pictures right now of someone being searched by some of those tactical teams. Mark, this doesn't necessarily mean this is the suspect at all, correct?
Oh, no, correct. Certainly, out of an abundance of caution, the officers who are on the campus here, closest to the ongoing situation, they are taking the students who might necessarily be in the area or maybe even be coming out of the evacuated building here, and they are searching them, essentially. And we did see several students over the course of the last several minutes here being escorted out, hands up, by officers here. And as they are basically cleared, they'll look through the backpack and just kind of let them go to a holding area. But essentially, as they are coming through the area, they are being searched, they are being stopped, they are being searched, and just to make sure that that they are in no way the suspect in this case. And so that is certainly some good news here. Kind of out of an abundance of caution, they are taking no chances here, and they are making sure that everyone who is coming through the area has been cleared.
Yeah, we have to remember this is UCLA is really the size of a small city. So you're going to have folks who may not have even heard that this is going on. Obviously, they're going to hear the sirens because there are so many of them. But folks are going to continue to walk through that campus, and as they encounter police officers, they're going to be searched out of an abundance of caution.
On the phone with us, William, who is a UCLA student on campus, locked up in his dorm room. William, tell us what's going on right now. How close are you to this activity here?
Yeah, so so I'm actually watching the Channel 5 newsfeed here, and I've switched through a couple of media outlets, and every time I hear them say it's a large campus, that's technically true, but the thing is, the classes themselves, and this building in particular, they're not too far off from the residency college, so they're less than a mile there, so, we received word, I can't tell you how invaluable the Bruin Alert message system was. It gave word right away about the shooting, and so we locked up here pretty quickly, and that's where we're at right now.
William, which building are you in, and describe your circumstances and what you've done where you are?
Yeah, so I'm in Header Claw right now. That's the furthest one. That's the furthest residence hall away on the hill, which is what we call where all the residence halls are. But even that one's still less than a mile away from the scene. And right now, I'm actually just in my dorm room, surrounded by 2 friends who, when they received word, they immediately just got into my room because we were just like everybody else. We received the alert, but we still didn't know what was going on. We knew where it was at, but we just didn't know the extent, whether that was the only scene or there were multiple scenes around, or multiple shooters in different scenes. So we're just here in our dorm room, and our hall and our floor in particular is generally really lively, and outside you always find cars and Ubers picking up and dropping off students. But right now it really just looks like we're in the middle of summer with no classes because outside there's no cars outside, there's no people outside, and from time to time I open my door and everybody's inside their rooms and everybody's still very worried about the situation.
But everybody, it sounds, is remaining calm. That's what you're explaining, William. And we know, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a busy time on campus. Finals, I believe, are next week. So, everybody's still there. Students haven't left for the summer, correct?
Yeah, students still haven't left for the summer. Finals week begins next week. This is actually our last week of the regular 10-week quarter before finals week. And usually around finals week, a lot of students, because Bolter Hall is one of the cheap math and science buildings. It's one of the most busy math and science buildings. During finals time, a lot of students go to get last-minute review help from TAs or professors and things like that. So that's what makes the situation especially troubling, because we are so close to finals week. There are a lot of students who head over to the buildings and they attend the last classes, which are usually review sessions, or they go to last-minute review sessions or to ask last-minute questions with the TA. So we're still in session. Finals week still hasn't happened, and I know me in particular, I still had a class today, but those 2 classes got canceled. So that's just the situation right now.
William, do you take any classes in the building that we're talking about, building engineering number 4, which is near parking structure 9? Do you have any familiarity with that part of campus?
Yeah, I'm very familiar. I don't have a class there this quarter, but in that specific building, but on the one that's literally right across from me, I do have a class. I was actually there yesterday, really near to the scene. So I'm actually watching your newsfeed right now, and I don't know if you see what's going on, but you see an officer holding an assault rifle outside the math and science building. Yeah. So I'm in the building right next to there. I was there yesterday, and so I have class there every Tuesday. So I didn't have class there today, but I'm very familiar with the scene because I'm in the building right next door, and I had a class in that building last quarter.
William, you were saying the Bruins alert system was very helpful to you. It alerted you right away that something was going on campus. Are you instructed at the beginning of the year that should something like this happen, here's how it goes, here's what we want you to do, here's what you need to stay tuned to? Are you getting updates, anything like that?
Yeah, so the system is really helpful because as soon as it happens, as soon as they receive word, they send it out. Even if it's just they rather risk false alarm than risk them not relaying that information over to us. So I know just a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a bomb threat in Westwood 2 over there by the medical center. So we received word on that too, and that turned out to be a dud. But the point here is, regardless of whether or not something turned out to be true, they sent out that alert to us, and at the beginning of the year, they inform us of if anything happens, to just keep an eye on the Bruin alert system. So we get text through there, and we'll get it sent to our emails, and they inform us here in the halls. If we're in our halls, to stay in our room. And the good thing about our halls is our student ID cards, which we call Bruin cards, they're encoded and encrypted. So the only way to access the building is if you live in the building or you need specific access to the building, whether you work there or something similar to that. So the good thing is you usually can't enter the building unless you have some specific reason of being here, whether you live here or you work there.
All right. Well, William Plata at Hedrick Hall, we know you're in a dorm room with 2 of your buddies. Take care of each other. Please continue to monitor the Bruin alert system so that you can get immediate information and take the action that you need to protect yourselves. Thank you very much for calling in, William.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I want to get now to, we've got Mark Kono and Sky 5 HD. We've got Lynette Romero on the ground at UCLA now. She's joined by Eric Spillman, also on the ground for us. Eric, where are you and what are you seeing?
We're at Portola Plaza and Dixon Court South, and what we're seeing here is an extremely tense situation. You see this officer with his rifle out. There are other officers going through this building here. It's the Mathematical Science Building. It's near Bolter Hall. What they're doing is the officers are going room to room in this building, and they're bringing out students in groups of 5 or 6. Here are a couple over here. You see them. They have to come out with their hands up, just like that. They come out. The officers will make them kneel down, generally speaking, search them, and then clear them and tell them to evacuate, to go somewhere else. They're doing this in small groups, everyone leaving the building and the police are going room to room here to try and clear these buildings. Many officers here. It's going to take a long time to go through all of these buildings. It must be terrifying for these students. They're in class, they're studying. It's the last week before finals. They're concentrating on their education. And then all of a sudden, a report of an active shooter somewhere on campus, and they're told to shelter in place. Then they have to wait for officers to come to them to remove them out of these buildings. It's a very frightening situation. If you look over here, you'll see there's a SWAT vehicle down at the end of that driveway down there. So the police have taken up positions all over the campus here. Many officers. We see officers walking around. And then you see this type of situation over here. This building over here, you have people who are inside, some of them taking pictures, inside the hallway there. They come out from time to time, and the police tell them to go back inside, shelter in place, but they're okay. But this is a very tense situation. Helicopters overhead, and they seem to be focusing on this particular building here, which is the Math Sciences building, and the nearest location I give you is Portola Plaza and Dixon Court South.
I have to say that looking at those folks who are sticking their head out at the door right near this very active search that's happening, that can't be helpful. While they may think, hey, it's safe where I am, I just want to come out and wave and see what's going on, it forces this officer and others to pay attention to them, and one of the reasons that they put out a shelter-in-place order is not only to protect all of the innocent people and to have them shelter in place, but also to allow the officers to concentrate on the very dangerous and active situation at hand. It seems very safe. They are safe where they may be standing, but these officers don't know who is friend or foe. They don't know that you're one of the good guys. And so they want these folks to stay sheltered in place.
It is a chaotic situation, though. I don't know how much information people actually have in terms of what they've received via text message or email or whatever other means. This is a crowded campus, lots of people here at this time. It's hard to know what information people have been given, and I think that's evident from what we're seeing some of the people doing here today.
Yeah.
Eric, have you been able to talk to anyone there as far as, the fact that this happened over an hour and 20 minutes ago, going on an hour and a half ago, what they're looking for as far as the suspect description, to confirm shot, any more information on that? Are you hearing anything there on the ground?
Nothing at all about that. I think from these officers' perspective, what they're doing is a systematic going through each building, clearing each room, making sure it's completely safe. I don't know that they're looking for a particular person or looking at a description or trying to identify anybody. They're just trying to get the students out and make sure that the building is empty and clear.
Yeah.
And that has to be done in a very systematic way that it takes a lot of time.
We should say the UCLA Bruin tweeted out fairly early on in all of this that there was information that they were reporting that they were attributing to police sources as a suspect was wearing a black jacket and black pants. We saw Captain Andrew Nyman from the LAPD Media Relations section come out and talk to reporters. He was not able to confirm that information and was not able to confirm the number of people shot and or killed. That information has been going back and forth, and in these situations it's perhaps best to be a little conservative on that information. Wait till you know for sure, and that's what the LAPD is doing. Eric, I hear you. Are you talking to someone there on scene?
Yes, and he doesn't want to be shown, but
okay.
Let me just ask him what you saw. What happened?
First of all, I saw choppers flying around in the sky, which was a little scary this time of the quarter. Coming here right next to Math and Sciences Young Hall, which is a chemistry department, and I was there for a while. I saw one, I think 16 or 18 people, SWAT unit, what looked like it, going into the building. They had a.
You saw some kind of SWAT unit going?
There's actually a SWAT vehicle over there.
Now we're seeing more students leaving. Sam, look down the street. You see a bunch of them that are coming out there. So did they tell you at all what the danger was? Did they tell you?
The word is that there's a shooter inside. That's what I've heard. No.
But they didn't tell you to shelter in place or anything like that?
Yeah, they've been evacuating everybody from the building. We saw more people coming from that side. And I think they're taking reasonable precautions, like everyone's.
So you came out of the building. Did they escort you out, or how did you get outside here?
Well, so I was told to come out, and then I was told to sort of put my hands behind my head, and then they sort of frisked me, checked my bag, and then just told me to stay away.
How frightening was this for you?
Oh, this is university campus. This is as frightening as it gets. I mean, these are places. I'm an international student. I'm from India. My parents are probably watching this live stream back home, so it's scary for them. It's scary for me. And these things should be, there should be much more. I assume some kind of surveillance, some kind of checks and balances to ensure that things like these don't happen in places of learning, in places where people go in to feel safe and stuff. This is unacceptable. I think you see.
Yes.
Eric, I'm going to...
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, and thank the student for speaking with us. Lynette Romero also on the ground and has a student with her as well. Lynette.
Frank, before we talk to our student here, I want you to see who just pulled up. This is FBI. It looks like a tactical team also, just pulling up to the scene. And I think they may just leave the vehicle. There's just no place to park or pull these vehicles. They're trying to figure out where they can safely park so they can get on scene. They're trying to get on scene as quickly as possible. Again, we don't know exactly what unit this is. We just can see that, the insignia on their uniform says FBI. And we were told that the FBI got here on scene very quickly from Captain Andy Nyman from the LAPD. And part of it is because of their proximity. They're so close. Their officers are so close, but they are now on scene. Many different tactical alerts here on scene here, including the LAPD. Let's cut over here and talk with Matt. Matt is a student from Belgium, and if you can believe this, today is actually his very first day on the UCLA campus. When you got the tweet, when you found out what was going on, I saw you kind of frantically on your computer trying to get information. What are your thoughts as a first day student?
It's like, what the fuck is happening over here? Sorry about that. What's happening? So just I couldn't understand like every policeman like coming at the same time on the campus. Like, oh, what is happening?
I mean, you're scared. You're trying to get in touch with your family at home. You're worried.
Of course. I was thinking about everybody involved in it and like trying to find information about what's happening right now.
You never thought coming here to UCLA it would be like this. You leave your country and.
At all, but it's quite the same thing. It's happening in our country too. It's like there is attack in Paris and Belgium, so beginning to be used to that.
So as you see all of this emergency personnel and a little bit of the chaos here on scene, what are your thoughts? What for your future?
That's scary. I'm just scared.
You're scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna stay though, right?
I don't know.
Well, I wish you the best, Matt. Thank you for talking to me. If you get any more information on your phone, I know that you're trying to be in contact with people here, too. Let me know what you find out. Thank you. We appreciate your time. Again, let me show you exactly what's happening here. We are in Westwood Plaza and Charles Young Drive. You can see all of the emergency vehicles. We're going to keep you posted exactly what is happening here on the ground. For now, back to you.
Let me get back over to Eric Spillman as we see an active search of someone coming through the campus.
Yeah, and this is what's happening to all the students who are in this mathematical sciences building. This person who we assume is a student was walked out by himself with his hands up. He has a backpack. The officer is searching the backpack. The student is keeping his hands up as he's been directed to do. And it's clear, so he's been given the backpack back, and he's being told where he needs to evacuate to. Now, this is happening to everybody who is inside this building, still keeping his hands up. He is walking down the sidewalk a little bit further to the west. And you can imagine how time-consuming and tedious this search is and how to clear these buildings. So many students, so many different rooms, so many labs, so many places where people would normally be at this time of day. Here's more. Here's another one coming out here. Hands over his head. His hands are up. Being directed by the officer, keep your hands up. Walk to me. Walk right here. He's walking forward slowly. Turn around. And this is just terrifying, honestly. you're a student here, you're concentrating on your education. You're thinking about that final exam that's next week. All of a sudden, this sort of thing happens, and you have to deal with this.
Yeah, Eric.
And it's just terrifying.
Eric, Lou Parker and Glenn Walker are now on the set here at KTLA. You know, you were saying how methodical these searches are. Imagine these students having to come out of this building as well and having to go through this process.
Yeah, they're terrified. We spoke to a student earlier. He was an international student, foreign exchange student. He was busy. He was studying. He was working in the engineering math sciences building. All of a sudden, he saw a SWAT team, and he had to evacuate with his hands over his head. This is just not something you would expect anywhere, but certainly not here in this place of learning.
A lot of times they have to take that chance, though, and be methodical, because this shooter who is on the run or possibly inside that building could have planned this and have, we've heard that he was dressed in all black, but he could also have brought a backpack with a change of clothes and gotten rid of his gun and could come out and act like he's a student. So they have to be really careful about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Numerous officers here, and as we were coming from Hollywood towards UCLA, it was a steady stream of vehicles, police vehicles with their lights and sirens on, fire department vehicles heading towards UCLA. We saw the bomb squad, we saw SWAT officers. This campus is a large campus, but it is packed with police and emergency responders.
Yeah, Eric, what also has to make this tough is, the UCLA campus, especially in that area, the buildings are tightly compacted together. So after the shooting, it would be very easy for the gunman to run and hide in another building. So they've got to do this room-to-room search for the gunman. And, when an officer is standing outside, like we saw the one right here in the image you're bringing to us, even he's vulnerable. I mean, the gunman could be up in one of those rooms in one of these buildings around there. And, so it's a dicey situation, not only for the students, but also for the officers that are on the scene. And again, if you're just joining us, all happened just before 10 o'clock this morning. The UCLA campus now on lockdown. The LAPD is on tactical alert throughout the city. This after a gunman described as a male 6 feet tall with black pants and a black jacket walked into Bolter Hall, also known as Engineering Building Number 4. We have confirmation that 2 people have been shot. Whether those shots proved to be fatal, we do not know at this point. But right now, the LAPD, the LA Fire Department, the FBI, all on campus right now as this desperate search continues for the gunman, while students who are now in the, basically, they're on a quarter system at UCLA. Next week's are finals. So right now, they're gearing up for finals, doing a lot of studying and getting ready for next week because school ends a week from this coming Friday. And now they're holed up in these classrooms, they're holed up in dorms as the law enforcement scours around the campus looking for this gunman. And again, a room-to-room search. They're going to go into rooms. It's going to be full of students. They're going to have to bring them out, as Eric has been showing us, one at a time. They all have to be checked out to make sure that they're not the gunman. As you said, Lou, they possibly could have changed clothes and ditched the weapon.
And Glenn, we're also getting confirmation from one of our producers here into the KTLA newsroom that the 2 victims are male. The 2 victims here that were shot on the UCLA campus are male. Again, the shooter, they are presumed on the run. This has been going on for nearly 2 hours now. And we are watching here an officer as students are being brought out of this building one by one. They're being checked. Their backpacks are being checked. They have to come out with their arms up. A tactical alert citywide is in effect right now for LAPD, and we heard one of the officers talking earlier that doesn't necessarily mean that this is happening or there's concern in other parts of the city. It just opens up the possibility that these officers are able to come and help on this side of town if need be. We've seen multiple agencies, fire, bomb squad, SWAT, ATF, K-9 unit, and a lot of the vehicles had a tough time even getting into this area. UCLA is super condensed, and a lot of those vehicles had to ride on sidewalks. I remember Lynette Romero, I saw your report earlier. Let's go check in with her. She was saying that, Lynette, you've reported on a lot of breaking news over the years in your career, and you said you didn't see it that hectic with that many agencies and officers in one place at one time.
Reporting for 28 some odd years. I've covered Waco. I've covered a lot of different stories. I covered the Oklahoma City bombing. And when you see this many different entities arrive on scene so quickly, running from their vehicles, driving on the sidewalk to get in place, you know that something is serious. We've got the ATF here now. We've got the FBI, LAPD. We've got SWAT. We have the bomb squad. We have K-9 units. We do know right now Police Chief James Herron from the UCLA Police Department is just crossing the street right now. He's about to brief the media on what he knows. I can tell you that it's difficult at this point because a lot of the personnel on the ground, the public information officers on the ground, are not getting the absolute latest information. So there are some discrepancies from what media relations is telling us. Our producers, our assignment editors, all the people in contact with them, they're getting different information than we're getting here on the scene. Captain Andy Nyman from the LAPD was not able to confirm for us 2 fatalities. There have been other reports that other LAPD personnel are confirming that. So there are discrepancies. It's a fluid situation. So I hope that our viewers will understand we're trying to get the most up-to-date information as quickly as possible. I'm sorry, I just keep looking because I assume he's coming over any second. Again, this is the Chief of Police for the UCLA Police Department, Chief James Herron. So we're going to hear what he has to say.
Good morning. My name is Jim Herron. I'm the Chief of Police for the UCLA Police Department. As you already have learned, that we have had an on-campus shooting this morning. The unfortunate fact is that there are 2 victims who are deceased from that shooting. We have still on campus an active investigation. We have an active search to ensure there are no further victims, that no one else is in harm's way, and we're still searching to see if there is a suspect that may be in the area. Those are questions we don't have answered yet. But I can tell you what we did immediately upon having learned about this incident. We immediately put out a Bruin alert, and that's our campus alert notification system to advise all of those in our campus community of an incident that occurred that could be dangerous to them, and we requested them to stay out of the area. Right now, currently, the campus is on lockdown. We have literally hundreds of police officers and agents here on campus assisting in this active situation. UCPD is working in concert with the FBI, with Los Angeles Police Department, with ATF, and with LA City Fire Department, as well as Santa Monica College Police. We have a lot of resources here that we're dedicating to ensure the safety of this entire campus community. That will tell you that with the response that we have had, not only from our own officers who has responded within just brief moments of receiving that first call, it is something that we have trained to do. And so when our officers arrived on scene, they immediately began putting teams together that are considered rescue teams to help those who have been injured, and also search teams to look for suspects who may be in the area. That was implemented immediately, and we've not stopped yet. We will continue to go until we are assured that this campus is safe, and if there is an outstanding suspect, we will have that person or persons in custody. We don't know. It is certainly possible that one of the victims is a shooter, but we don't know that yet.
Are you looking at
suicide? There is that possibility, but we haven't confirmed that yet.
Chief, can you tell us where in the building, in the engineering building, the shootings occurred and what the circumstances were?
The location exactly in the building I can't divulge right now. It's in the engineering building, as you know. It is inside where there are numerous people. In fact, quite honestly, we still have dozens of people in the building who have sheltered in place. Other than the building, the area outside is called the Court of Sciences. We have asked everybody from that location to please leave the area, just to ensure their safety. One location so far.
And the victims are inside the building?
The victims were located inside the building.
How many shooters or gunmen are you looking for at this point?
Unknown.
Sex of the victims?
I'm sorry?
Male, female, the victims?
I don't have that information right now.
One more question. How did you first receive the call?
I'm sorry?
How did you first receive the call?
Through our 911 dispatch center in the police station. We received a call.
And they came from inside the building? Or?
I'm not sure where the origin of that call was, but we received it at the station. Thank you. We will update you with more information as we're able to develop it. We appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Do you know if the victims are students or students?
I don't know.
And no other injuries, right?
Thank you very much.
And nobody else injured?
Can you just confirm that? They're saying that there are other injuries. Are there any other injuries? Any other injuries? None that you know of. Okay, thank you, Chief. Sorry, trying to get the latest information. One of the things that we had heard before is that there may have been more injuries, but at this point, as he was walking away, he says there are no other injuries that they know of. But again, you did hear him say they are doing their best to secure the engineering building entirely and the entire area around the engineering building. So this is a very preliminary investigation. There are still responding officers, responding teams showing up, trying to make sure that everything is safe, and also trying to make sure that the people who are being held in place, sheltering in place, know that they're okay and they're safe, because you can imagine the panic they must be feeling not being able to find out the very latest. We, of course, will bring you the very latest here from the ground. We're basically at ground zero, right on Charles Young and Westwood Plaza. All of the updates from LAPD, from UCLA Police, they will all happen from here, and we will absolutely bring you the latest on the KTLA 5 News. Back to you guys in studio.
Right, Lynette, thank you for that. And, of course, we just heard from Chief Jim Herron of the UCLA Police Department. We now know that there are 2 shooting victims, and they have both succumbed to their injuries. So we have 2 fatal shootings now on the UCLA campus as the search continues for the gunman. And again, you see one of the officers there outside the Math and Sciences building, where we were talking to Eric Spillman a few minutes ago, and students have been evacuated from classrooms inside of that building. Basically, they've been leaving the building one by one with their hands behind their head. Just want to err on the side of caution. Just want to make sure that the gunman didn't maybe change clothes and try to blend in with the other students and faculty here in the Math and Sciences building, or in Bolter Hall, which is the engineering building number 4, where the shooting took place.
The chief also confirmed that those victims were found inside of the building. We have multiple reporters on the scene. Mark Kono's up in Sky 5. Let's go to Corrine Winter. She has new information. Corrine, you were able to talk to a witness?
I did. A UCLA worker, construction worker, who was still visibly shaken. Before going to that, I just want to show you what's going on behind me. We've seen so many teams like this. This is a SWAT team, another group. They're getting everything together. They're going to be moving in to the left of where I am. We're at the corner of Westwood Plaza and LeConte. Again, the situation is far from over. But now let's go to that sound from that construction worker who actually claims that he came face to face with the shooter. Listen.
I didn't see everything, no. So we just got out of the building after we started shooting and ran out the door. So we got moved south. We were at the Engineering 4 building when they started firing shots, and we ran into the building. How many guys was it? There was just one guy, body armor.
And you heard that construction worker there say one guy, body armor. But back live now, this intersection absolutely gridlocked. You have not just UCLA students, but a lot of law enforcement officials trying to get into that area to the left of where I am, where that command post is. People wondering what is going on here in terms of, is there one shooter? Are there multiple? A lot of nearby businesses are also impacted as well. A employee told me that they've been asked to avoid this intersection until they more clarity as to whether or not this situation will be under control. Lastly, I spoke with a student. He was not in the immediate impacted by where they believe that shooter is, but he said, they were on lockdown for to leave that building. His hands were actually visibly shaking, and he said that earlier this year they had a shooting drill, and that while it's nothing like today, he said this is absolute chaos and reality unfolding. He said it gave them kind of an awareness as what to do. So he described what a lot of students did at the time. They locked the doors. Some used their belt buckles to secure the classrooms that they were in. They were on the ground. Some of them were under desks. Remember, this is finals week, and so this was it still is a very populated area. A lot of students in libraries studying, trying to get all of their exams and preparations out of the way. And he said, it was crucial because, they had some point of reference, because when you're into something like this, again, real life chaos, the mind is so cluttered. So he was grateful for that, but also concerned about his fellow classmates and wondering exactly what is happening on those other parts of campus that it's not really visible right now. So he said that his prayers go out to those students. That's the latest here. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Corrine, thank you so much. We'll check in with you in just a little while. Be safe out there. Earlier, too, we spoke with former FBI Special Agent Stephen Moore, and I'm quoting him, he said this is a nightmare, basically because we don't know where the shooter is. These officers, the multiple agencies, are having to go room to room to check and see, to clear the rooms, to clear the buildings, and that can take hours. He said they have to gather, obviously, the intelligence from what happened initially. And this is one of the things that they train for. What this officer is doing here is waiting until each student, one by one, is allowed to exit this building. This is the science building here, and Eric Spillman has been on the ground here. We've seen several students come out with their hands up. They had to get down on their knees, and they are body searched. Their backpacks are searched. Pretty intense here, Eric. What's the feeling down there? Is there a lot of stress, or is it more just a little bit calming right now?
Well, we still see officers walking around carrying their weapons in their hands, and what we saw a bunch of officers walk into this mathematical science building about a half an hour or so ago. This is near Portola Plaza and Dixon Court South on campus here, and one by one, they're bringing students out, usually in small groups of, let's say, 5 or 6 at a time, sometimes 1 or 2 at a time. Each student comes out with their hands over their head. They're asked to kneel down, keeping their hands over their head, and the officer makes sure that if they're carrying any backpack or anything like that, that it is searched. And what they're trying to do here, at least from what we can tell, is to clear these buildings in this area. It's very, very difficult to do. It's a tedious job. There's a lot of different places they have to go. They're probably not familiar with the layout of a lot of these buildings. There's been a lot of construction on campus in recent years, so we have a lot of buildings here that need to be searched, and they're going hallway to hallway, room to room, getting people out, students out, getting them out safely, and at the same time making sure that they do in a very methodical way, looking for any sign perhaps that there might be a gunman in one of these buildings. So that just takes an awfully long time, and they're doing it extremely carefully. And in the meantime, if you are a student here or you work here, you're being told to shelter in place. And if we come around and show you what's going on at this building, you see people who are employees and perhaps students behind the glass of this building across the driveway from the other one we showed you. And they've been given very little information except that they should just stay behind those doors. Some of the people are listening to the advice from police, others are not, and they're outside on the steps here, trying to contact family perhaps, find out more information. But people are basically just staying where they are, shelter in place, until they get the word from officers that it's clear. And you see further down this driveway here, a large contingent of what look like SWAT officers. It looks like they're having a meeting to figure out exactly where they should deploy next. And again, this is just a complicated task. I mean, you have to clear a campus like UCLA where there are thousands of students potentially on campus. It's a very busy time of year, a week before finals. The buildings are full of students and employees, and so they're just doing the best they can, but it's going to take some time.
Go now to a student, Emily Trouch.
Here's some action here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, more well, these... It looks like they maybe have cleared that building. I'm guessing because a lot of officers coming out. Eric, we're going to get back to you, but right now we have on the phone with us a UCLA student, Emily Trouch. She has been on lockdown now for almost 2 hours. Emily, what did you see and what did you hear?
So I was in Boulter Hall when a police officer instructed us to evacuate. We were told to run out of the building and down South Campus. So we are currently in Life Sciences.
So you were in Boulter Hall when the shooting took place. Did you hear the gunfire?
No, I didn't.
Interesting. How many people were in the classroom with you on lockdown?
About half a dozen of us with our teaching assistant.
And they told you directly where to run?
Yeah, they told us to run out of the building and toward southward.
So how did you find out that there had been a shooting and you were at that point told to stay in the classroom? Just kind of describe how that
A
all
few
went.
minutes prior, we received our Bruin alert by text message and email.
Yeah, that Bruin alert went out to all on the campus, basically saying to shelter in place and that there had been a possible shooting on campus. Can you describe, I mean, we've seen some of your fellow students being brought out of buildings with their hands up, innocent students being brought out with their hands up, body searched. This is something that officers have to do to keep everyone safe. What is the feeling for you guys? You've been in there for like 2 hours now. You must have been terrified, probably still are terrified, getting a little restless. Can you describe the situation for us?
We're pretty calm. We're watching